I wanted to come on and tell you all about my remote view that I did the other night, and also just to send so much love to so many people out there at the moment, because the stories that I am hearing, and they're so heartfelt. What everybody is going through is a journey of the unknown, and I wanted to bring forth what I've gone out there to see, because you're probably wondering to know where, how, why are you able to get this information? Well, when we were in lockdown at the very beginning, a friend rang me up and said, Karen, you told me all about this in the reading that you gave me. And I said, really? She said, everything that's going in sequence at the moment is exactly how you said it. And I was really quite taken back on that. And I said, how? And she rattled it off. And I said to her, let's skip the middle part. Let's get straight to the end. And the end is amazing. So that's something I've held on. Now, one thing I did ask her, how long ago did I put this message in your reading? She said 10 years ago. Now that sort of blew me away, because then I had to take it in, and then another woman rang me up and said, Karen, you put this in my reading. Again, I asked, and it was many years. Now I put this all together and sat there and thought, well, why would I do that? Why was I writing of the events that are playing out now 10 years in advance, but back 10, for that woman's reading? What was I going to gain from it? Well, actually, if you think about it, that was my future self coming through to give myself now the information that what's happening, literally what's happening right now. So I've put it all together. I've been mapping it. I've been following it. And I can definitely say that we have definitely changed timelines. We've changed timelines quite a few times. And what I did see was a hell of a lot of people leaving this earth plane. I don't see anywhere to the devastation of what I saw back then in the future. I'm tracking it, I'm following it, and it gives me a bit of a guideline. So what I do is, when I do these remote views, I go out there and I compare what my future self gave me to where we are now to where we're going. I follow the timelines, and then I roll them out, and then I come back and I sit with them to then be able to relay it to you. Now, it was really interesting, because 2 nights ago, I decided, I'd like to go out. I'd really like to go out and start getting some more information. For the very first time in 30 years, I could not go out. I was blocked. Maybe me, and I'm extremely stubborn. I pushed and I couldn't get past. Then I thought, maybe if I go and change seats, it's the energy. So I changed seats. This time they did allow me to go out, but they said I was not allowed to go out and do any remote views. What they did allow me to do was I went out, and there were so many other souls, and we were allowed to go on this hill, and we were standing there, and I was looking at everybody, and I said, what are we waiting for? And they said, shush, we're in the present time, the moment, and we're just waiting. And me being me, I just said, well, So I intuitively went in, and I knew what we were waiting for was not quite then. But it confirmed what I know inside, so I then knew I could come back. So when I came back, I was really quite taken back, because for the very first time, they weren't allowing me to go out to bring back the information. So I left that. The following night, I was in a completely different location, and I decided to go out, and yeah, that was spectacular. So I'm going to read off what I experienced, what I saw, and the future, where we're at, and to give you some more insight that I have when I go out. Because if I can give you my eyes and my sight, I shall, by doing this video for you. So let's get going. So the other night I tried to go out there for the very first time, and I just told you about that. They only allowed me to stand on that hill. So from there, I'm just going to get past that because I've already said that. Yeah, and I got bored. I knew it was not quite the time, so I came back the next night because it was too boring for me. So the next night I decided to go back out to do a remote view, and it was incredible. As soon as I went out there, it was so beautiful. They were actually waiting for me because they knew I don't give in. And as soon as I was there, they acknowledged me, and I could feel the incredible love through my heart. The energy was incredible, nothing like what I had ever felt before. It felt so incredible and enlightened. I soaked it up, and I honestly could not get enough of it. And there was plenty. I looked over and I saw the seat for me. They said, "It's time, Karen, to take your seat for you to see more." Now, if you remember back, I've been waiting for the seat, and the seat, they just brought it towards me, and I knew then that's the seat I've been waiting for. So I went and sat down and went straight out there with them. The world looked so different to how it is now. It wasn't busy, and it was pure love everywhere. The frequency was so strong, instead of this heavy, dense fear energy we have here. I was looking around and I saw everything look so much more alive. The vibration of the flowers and the trees and the greenery. The colours are nothing like what they are here, especially now. I don't know if you've noticed, but everything seems to be really dense and not vibrant, even with our trees. There, they were so vibrant, and we have to create new names for the colours that I saw, because I can't bring back the colours to tell you because there's no names for them. So I definitely can say we're going to have to start working out some new names. As I couldn't get over the energy that the colours were emitting. So this is the trees, the sky, the flowers. Everything is so fluorescently beautiful. It's incredible. So the next minute, they took me into Wellington to show me the beehive. I stood there and I completely scanned, because that's one thing with my ability. I scan. So I may not be able to go in there, but I can transpose my energy and I scan the place. I can definitely say they were no longer there. The energy had completely changed up. I was really taken back, so I looked around and I scanned the whole area. I just could not get over the pure freedom. Oh, as the evil and the control was no longer residing in there. And I can't wait till you can experience it like I did. I looked right around the space that I was in, because it was vast, right down to the air that I was breathing. It was incredible and crisp. Everyone was so vibrantly happy, as though they were gliding on air, as there is no restrictions whatsoever. They were getting on with what they wanted to do with complete freedom. It's like how you would do a visualization. How would you like to see your life and create this in your mind's eye? Well, this is exactly what it was like. It's like I stepped out into the space of pure essence of just the most incredible energy. Then they showed me our homes as they were filled with many new devices. I could not get over the homely feeling that our homes admitted, right down to the gardens and how they grew the plants. Everything looked so alive. The technology of the cars is not as we know it. They all look like electric cars, but not, if that makes sense. They seemed like they were hovering, and I just thought, oh, I'm not even going there. But there is definitely new technology that's going to come out with the cars. It's definitely coming through. Then they showed me that there is no overhead pylons, no street power lines running down the street. They do not exist in this reality. So I just went down the street where I was standing and I was searching for the power lines. They did not exist. I was scanning the electricity coming into the home then, but it was not the frequency that we know of. Then they showed me the difference of the electricity of what we have now compared to the new technology. The electricity we work with now is harmful to the human body, as it interferes with the human electrical energy frequency. Then they showed me homes that are living next to the massive big pylons and interfering with the quantum energy of the body, as we are trillions of cells resonating on frequencies. And with the high voltage towers, they can interfere with the self. When I looked at how houses are going to be working with our new electricity, it was no longer causing harm. Because myself, I'm extremely sensitive to radio frequencies, and I'm connecting to the new electricity in the home. So what I did, I scanned. And I scanned the room for the space of, just, I knew there was electricity, but I wasn't reacting when I was scanning. I literally could not get over how I couldn't feel the energy of it. The weird thing, it actually feels fresh, clear, and vibrant, as though it's on a level of healing to our bodies, if that makes sense. The Wi-Fi frequencies that we run throughout our homes at the moment will no longer interfere with the human body, as we will no longer be using the cellular systems as we know it. Next minute, they then placed, it was like an iPad, but not as small as a cell phone, but very similar, sort of in between sizes. It didn't feel like it weighed anything, but yet I knew it did. What I noticed straight away is that my body did not react to the frequency that it was resonating on, as my body is so sensitive to the cellular frequencies. that I struggle when I talk on the phone and I get a warm ear. With this, there was no effect with me holding this new device. They placed the normal phone, cell phone, which I normally have, in my hand on my left-hand side, and then they placed the new device on my right-hand side. Straight away, on the left-hand side, which is the normal phone, it dropped down, while my right-hand side stayed straight out. It's a muscle testing, so you knew that my body was reacting because I was weaker on this side because of the device. And yeah, they were showing me that the new one wasn't interfering with me. They then showed me the new technology where we will be receiving calls, but not as we know it. The person that called the new phone will transpose literally right in front of you, as though they're interacting with you in the flesh. So no more in the PJs on calls anymore. Now this was incredible, as you see this in the movies, but someone called the phone at the time and I answered it, and then the person came literally straight out, and it freaked me out because next minute that person was standing right in front of me. They could maneuver, whatever, and it was like that person was right there. And yeah, it does take a little bit to get used to. It was just so weird. And they were talking away to me, and they projected right in front of me. I have to say that was fascinating, weird at the same time. I honestly felt that I had woken up out of a dream and lost 20 years with all this new technology that was all around the house. It was so new to me that it took me a few minutes to get used to it all. The house feels of a higher frequency, so the electricity is lifting the frequencies of the home. We no longer get affected by it, and it's a form of healing to our bodies. How cool is that? If you think about it, the technology we work with now is ancient compared to what I was working with. You can walk right outside 10 to 20 meters with the phone. You know, if you take your cell phone outside, you can go up to 10. I don't know. I'm just throwing some numbers, but you know, you can take your cell phone on Wi-Fi to an extraordinary amount of distance away from the home, and you're going to think about it. That's going through your mortar, the bricks, the wood, and beaming right out there. Now, if it can do that, and we have the Wi-Fi going, and we have it in our bedrooms, and it's buzzing around, imagine what it's doing to our bodies. It just makes you think about it, doesn't it? And why to that type technology? Okay. And especially now that you can see it into that level, it disgusted me. For many, many years, I've been talking about it. I had the cell phone chips on my phone for the protection, and people just thought I was crazy and I was nuts. But to actually be out there and seeing what our new technology, and it's not harmful. And so that it confirmed everything that I've known deep down inside. Then they got me to look over at the food. I could not get over the land, and the soil had been enhanced instead of the dead soil we have now. The nutrients were back once again to be able to grow food. So, yeah. What is going to go into our soil is going to be pure magic, and I think there's already someone onto that one. I was really blown away with the food in the home. They were more exotic. I don't know how it's going to be possible, but it is possible, and the fruits are more exotic. There is a huge difference in the quality and right down to the colours of the food. The nutritional value took on another level. It was like food was emitting a frequency, as you could see the vibration from the food right down to the colour. I then went outside and looked up at the sky. I could not get over the energy coming from it. And I don't know about you, but I just love going out in the dark and just looking up, because I can feel, I can't see, but I can intuitively feel. But this time it was completely different. Everything was crisp and clear and alive. Then they showed me the comparison with the existing on the left-hand side and the new on the right-hand side. We're totally weighed down with the frequency that they've been pulsating at us. But on the right-hand side, my body felt like it wanted to stand straight up. I felt like I was taller, and I internally felt clearer. My whole being was feeling radiant and completely glowing. All my senses were 100 times clearer, with much more clarity. God, I'd hate imagine what I'd be like then. Everything about me, I felt that there was no longer any zilch restrictions. Even my heart, mind, body and soul could feel this beautiful, incredible energy that we are all literally gasping for right now. The air that we will be breathing will be crisp. It felt like it had gone through an air conditioning filter system, and the air felt completely different. The feeling of getting up early in the morning and fresh smell of freshly cut grass with a bit of a dew on it. It smelt like that, but 10 times greater. Everything was completely alive. I couldn't get over it. When I looked around at the people walking around, there were no muzzles, no diseases. I then asked them to take me to a hospital. There were no hospitals. Absolutely no hospitals. There were centres that were working with new technology to heal people. The centres were literally everywhere. It was like you were going to a day spa. People also had the opportunity of owning their own. And this is pretty much the med beds. And there was just so many new devices that they're actually been using. They have not been open and allowing us to use this technology. So it's not new, it's old technology, but it's new to us. Imagine a life where we can heal our bodies naturally without the chemicals. It was incredible. People also had the opportunity to own in their own, much like the sunbeds, people brought their own. The people that can't afford just go to the centres. Again, they showed me the comparison with the left as now and the right in the future. So people would go in as they are, and when they left, they were completely different. Their bodies, when they arrived, looked crippled. When they left, they looked so much younger and were standing taller in stature. There was no comparison. It was incredible to see. I asked about the supermarkets, and then they showed me that the big chains will no longer exist because they're all part of this agenda. The control over food. You will self-order your groceries. They then handed me the iPad again, where I could order the groceries. It then gets transposed, oh my God, on your kitchen bench. On your kitchen bench. That was insane. Money's not going to be a problem. people are merging and they are traveling everywhere. The technology we have not seen yet, it's about to come in, which is not too far away. Our world in 2 years will be so different to what we're actually living now. Positive, not this negative that they've been portraying to us. The children's laughter was constant, and the birds and the were different types. The weather itself is going to be completely different, so much better. The warmth from the sun is not burning anymore. We're not going to have to layer up with all the chemicals to protect our skin. And what I noticed, the sun was not burning me anymore. It's like it was anti-aging myself as I was watching the way my skin was responding to the sun. And it was stunning. The weather will no longer have the great storms and no more earthquakes as they have been manipulated. There is going to be more land as it will rise from the sea. New Zealand will be far bigger. It's all underground. There is more land that has to come up. New Zealand has been hidden and they have known about this. It was amazing as I felt incredibly unbalanced as the land was rising right underneath me. So what happened there? I was just standing there and all of a sudden, whoa, and I said to them, you better not be causing me an earthquake. And they said, no, just watch. And both sides, so I was actually down south, both sides, I was in the middle of the South Island and on either side of me, it rose. So this new land came up, and what I noticed, the land that was coming up, it was such a freaky experience, but the width of the South Island was the same width on either side of the South Island. So that was the amount of land that was coming up from the sea. It was insane, and the size and the width of our South Island was the width of either side. So much has been hidden under the water. They've been operating down there. This is going to be a shift for it to come. So there's going to be some form of shift when this actually starts presenting itself. They'd shown us that there's going to be, they've shown us prior and they've spoken of it, that there was reclaimed land and it'll eventually sink, and that's what they've always said. In Wellington it's all reclaimed land, so if we have a really big earthquake it will drop. Well, the absolute opposite's going to happen, as it's going to rise up from underneath the sea. The land is coming up, and there is so much land that will be coming up, and we will be closer to Australia. There are some connections somehow and where the land is coming from. It's like there's another world underneath there. There is definitely more land that is going to rise. So we have increased overnight. Doesn't feel the same distance between North and South Island now. Pressure points with volcanoes and earthquakes do not feel right. There needs to be further investigation about them. Because again, it's been manipulated. They then took me through the rivers, the water supply, and how they've been contaminated and how they will be cleaned up. They were scooping up. So it's basically the way they were showing me the fungi and that was growing in the water and the rivers. The water supply has been contaminated and will be cleaned up. And I was then trekking up the hills. They had done drops, the chemical drops, and it's gone down into the rivers, and it formed itself on the rocks and grown its own life force. It created a fungi form which is harmful to the dogs, which we know. And it's been a bigger agenda. It has gone right out to the sea. There's been much out to the sea. And on the left-hand side, they showed me what the sea is like now. It's really dense and lifeless and heavy, and there wasn't much oxygen. It's amazing that the sea creatures that have been able to live out there, what has been happening to Mother Earth with her magnetic force of the waves going in and out has been helping the sea. It has a natural magnetic force that they have not been able to stop. This magnetic pull, what the universe has created with the waves. This is why we are drawn to the sea, because of the magnetic charge from the waves. Magnetic energy coming from it, which has helped with the oxygen to the sea. This is why we feel recharged when we are at the sea. And I love recharging down there. The physical side of the ocean has lack of oxygen in the water. It's dense. Then I was watching this incredible transformation from the hills down to the rivers and right down to the sea. The transformation is magical, and all the water in New Zealand will be renewed. They reminded me of the ocean down in Wellington, where you can stand in the sea and you can't see your feet. It's so murky, it's revolting. Then, now they're showing me on the other side, after the cleansing took place, and I now am able to see my feet. There was no more nasty foam. The water is crystal clear. It looks like distilled water. It looked so vibrant. The water is lifting up into the sky, so the evaporation was taking place. The clouds and the sun and the rain, it was cleansing itself. It was so incredible, this renewal changing while it took place. I witnessed the land renew itself as though it wakes up with this new nutrients that has been added, literally added. The land became alive. It was taken to Parliament. I was taken to Parliament. And I can definitely say the energy is no longer, it is no longer there. So at this stage, they're wrapping things up. They're doing the last and final collection. And why I'm saying that, Friday of last week, I was in town and I looked over at the beehive. And I was really quite taken back because the energy was so different. And I thought, what? So I went and scanned it. I could not get over that when I went scanning for the main players, I could not feel them in there. And I thought that was really bizarre. Anyway, I went with a friend to the rally in Wellington, and that was just magical. People from all walks of life, all the beliefs, whether masked, not masked, jabbed, unjabbed, it didn't matter. We all came together for the same reason, because everybody knows the agenda that has been rolled out. We all came together. It was incredible. But after that, I said to my friend, I need to go and park outside the building, Parliament. So which we did, and I sat there. And I literally scanned the area. I scanned the old government building. For the very first time, for the last 18 months, I have not enjoyed being in that location. The energy, the evil, the dense, it's been so heavy. This time, for the very first time when I scanned it, it felt so much clearer. Again, I scanned for the main players and they were no longer there. I knew in my heart it's begun. It's really begun. It gave me so much encouragement, because the whole time it's never felt so clear. So as you know, it's a real push to push through the numbers, because the numbers are low. They are no longer there the ones that are meant to reside, no, well, not reside, but work in there. Then what was really quite amazing, judges, police, they were getting removed. So there was all these people and all the different sectors. And then all of a sudden, I just keep watching different individuals get lifted up. The organisations were all still running. So the normies would think nothing different. But I was literally watching them pluck the ones that have done wrong to humanity were literally getting taken away. I knew exactly what was happening then when I was watching that. Yeah, a complete shift for the individuals that have done wrong. It is definitely closer now. The ones that have done wrong, the atrocities were rounded up. What is running now is the ones that are running the main positions. It is like the last shit show time. The party is over and they're running it to the end not to disappoint. It is definitely coming to an end of the horror movie, the end of the production. So what I'm wanting you to do right now, not visualize, but look at it as a horror movie, that we are all playing characters in this horror movie. But when it gets too much for you, get out of that horror movie. Why do you want to keep being in that horror movie? Shift it over, turn it off, switch it off, get into nature. Stop getting in the collective energy. They are rolling this out now to wake the ones that have no idea what's happening. Because we have known all this time, but if you look, there are so many more realizing that they don't want to be part of the segregation that they're doing. They don't want to have everybody separated. How dare they do this and split us all up? But there are so many still not quite awake to this. How are you going to wake up? You actually have to show the people. They have to go through it, because when you get backed into a wall, it's the fight or flight that kicks in. And when that happens, then you'll start waking up. Then the lighter energy has got so much stronger. My gosh, it's so much stronger. By the end of November, it's going to be clearer. This week, right through to next week, it will be really heavy. You've got to make sure that you really shift your energy, lift your vibration, and make a stand, because next week it's going to be explosive. Now, do not fall under the pressure that is going to be fed out to you. I'm warning you, I'm getting you to know that this is what will roll out. So what are you going to do to fill your heart with so much love? Don't fall over. Whatever you do, we are literally at the end of the horror movie. Don't let the bad guys win. You have held a belief all the way through. Don't roll over at the final curtain time. Find your love. Find your strength. It is bringing everyone together now. Everyone, no one is to miss out. We are collectively standing in our truth and our light, because the more people are awakened to what is happening, the vibration of pure love essence will literally be so enhanced. And this is the new evolution that we have been waiting for. It is now. It's literally upon us. So find your big girl pants and pull them up high. Find your men. Get them to stand with you, because don't fall over at the last part. You've come all this far. And honestly, November is our month. So the next rally, you've got to attend and show up. Stand up. You don't have to run. You just be there. Be present. Hold your light. Hold your space. Show everybody that you are here. You are present. Don't roll over. And it doesn't matter whether you're scared. Everybody is scared at the beginning. But honestly, when you see everybody giving so much love and support to you, you will grow in your own strength. And it's so empowering. So come together. Because we will not be deceived no more by the controllers that have controlled us all our life. They have all been rounded up. Because I keep scanning and they are not there. I have never, ever, I can never say that, but I can 100% say it now. What is getting rolled out is an illusion on the TV. And they have got doubles. They are not. If you look at the ones that are playing the parts now, they do not look the same as what they were at the beginning. They're definitely not the same. And if they are playing their own part, they're only there for a short time, because it's payback time for them now. As the final countdown is pretty much on, it will all dissolve. It will literally be all coming to an end. It is like they're getting ready for the last curtain call. So they're doing their last scene, literally on the last scene. And I'm looking at the curtain, and it's about to come down on stage. So they are so close. They're literally herding the people up. You've seen the helicopters. You've been watching the planes. You've been tracking them. Do not believe what's been presented to you on that little box. Oh my gosh, no. And it's amazing. I'm still seeing so much light beams on Earth now. They have now been placed 2 light beams to each person on Earth, the Guardians, to assist people right now as the pressure is so great. And oh my God, the stories. Honestly, it's heartfelt there's so many horrific stories that people are reaching out. Everyone is being tested right now to see what they value the most, monetary value over their health, their life basically. The ones that have left, their karmic payback is completed. They don't need to be here. And they are on a bigger and better things when they depart. It's their soul journey. And as hard as it is to witness this, you just send them love. It's just part of what's happening. I looked at the ones that pass will meet us on the other side. They'll be on another frequency. I have not quite nailed what happens with the ones that are pretty much lost within themselves when they get this. But I'll get back to you on that. But it's definitely the final countdown. The jab has definitely jolted their bodies, and I am scanning their bodies. There are different amounts being put in the jabs, and it has stopped some people in their tracks, as the fear that they are feeling will no longer be there. There will be a shift after the next week that will take place, which will lift the frequency. So after next week, so we're coming into November, There will be a shift. It will feel really dark this week and next week for so many. They will lift up the frequency as people have had to feel the darkness to make them be pushed into a corner, like I said before, for their fight or flight to kick in. For then, they will awaken and notice that there is something not right out there. As so many people have been completely blinded to what is staring them right in their face. The only way to awaken them is to come to the point of utter fear, which could threaten their family and their own self. This is where you all fit in, as the knowledge that you have will be there to help these souls, these new ones, as they will be coming out of a daydream, as from the full moon, I think it was last night to tonight. Even if they have had the jab, it is to make them realize something is wrong and to stand up, united, collectively. When they realize to join in with the others, they will be saved. And the ones that don't, this is a different story, as they will never want to merge. The dark of the day had to come, and it will be like an apocalypse to them. But to the ones that are awoke, it will not feel like this. It will be, for goodness sake, when is this shit going to be over? Wrap it up now. We feel sorry for the ones that have to go through so much pain. It is their destiny to go through this way. Some have been so stubborn and they chose to play it out this way for their own evolution. There are also non-humans that walk amongst us as well. So again, they had to be sifted out. It's all part of the cycle that is taking place. You have to remember our light is getting so much stronger, and this is needed to remember. You need to remember to lift your vibration and lift. So come home to yourself and your higher frequency. It is nearly done. So don't despair. It's going to be the 2nd to 3rd week in November. Things will be really changing up to a positive. It feels so good. And by the end of November, it is totally different. And I'm looking there, and something is totally coming out to reveal. It's going to be in November. It does not feel like what we are in now. It really, the feeling is so much better. So stay positive and hold the light for others. Honestly, it is honestly. Next year, none of this is operating. It's not even there. So, I send you all so much love. Hold the light and stand in your heart space, because it's coming to an end and this horror movie is going to be turned upside down, cleaned out. So hold the line, and we'll see you next time. Love you.